Buenas and Hafa members and guests. Welcome to the Guam Chamber's virtual annual membership meeting and board elections. This year has certainly been a very difficult year for our chamber and our business community. I am proud of the work our organization has done this year, and I'm looking forward to sharing with you our activities and accomplishments. Our chamber president will also be sharing with you the hard work that they've done and have been able to accomplish in the face of our new reality, virtual. We are looking forward also to hearing the results of our board elections, so please stick with us till the end. Before we get to the annual business, I would like to call on Anthony Mariano, our GYP committee chairperson, to provide his report to the membership. Anthony?
Hi, Hafa. Good morning, fellow chamber members, and thank you, Madam Chair, for that brief introduction. As our chamber chair has mentioned, this year has been a very unprecedented year for the chamber, as well as all of us, as far as business professionals, business owners, and just everyday community members. We have been, as far as GYP is concerned, we do have a upcoming GYP town hall event scheduled for December 10th, which is a Thursday. This event will be a virtual town hall event, which will take place from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. For GYP, we've been, kind of quiet this year. We've executed a couple of webinar series, but before 2020 ends, we wanted to take this time and opportunity to engage with our membership further. So the purpose of this town hall event is really to reach out to our members and serve as a two-point approach. One, where we're engaging with our entire membership as in a form of a town hall event, and two, getting their thoughts and feedbacks as far as how 2020 has been for them, how they would like to see us plan for next year, for 2021, what activities that can we offer them, and in light of everything that's been going on now that we are getting more familiar with the new norm, how exactly can we best execute events and programs for our GYP members. So again, this event is scheduled for Thursday, December 10th from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. The agenda is real simple. We're just going to catch up on what GYP has done throughout the year and what we have done in the past to provide our members benefit, as well as touch base with our chamber leadership. One of the things we are talking about this year is really closing in the gap with communications between our GYP members and our chamber membership as well. So we felt that that was a very important element to add to our agenda. And in the middle part of the agenda, we would break out into virtual roundtable sessions into smaller groups where each session would be led by a steering committee member. And again, it's really to have a two-way communication process and real-time engagement with our members. We are interested in hearing what they have to say as far as what they would like to see in professional development, how we can better engage with our membership and really strengthen our relationship as GYP members, and what we can do to help facilitate their growth in the chamber membership in general. So if you have any members that or employees that are within the GYP membership, please encourage them to attend this event. The more members we get, the better. Gaining as much feedback as we can would help us definitely strategize for a better 2021 action plan. So please stay tuned for more details. Follow us on social media. We have a Facebook and Instagram, and then of course, stay tuned to your constant contact email notices. Again, thank you for the opportunity, Madam Chair and Chamber Leadership, to talk about this upcoming town hall event.
Thank you, Anthony.
To all the board candidates.
We certainly look forward to the activities next year for GYP and appreciate all the support that you've provided to our chamber this past year. I'd like now to call upon Frank Campillo. Frank is the co-chair of our think tank committee, along with Joe Cruz. This committee was established to look at different economic initiatives in the face of our current pandemic and the economic challenges that we are going through. Frank and Joe have led our committee to look at these initiatives and see how we can bring them to fruition. Frank?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair and Madam President. And if I may ask the membership to give a round of applause, through this new normal that we have, to both our chairwoman leaving this position during a very difficult year, and our chair president for keeping the chamber together and keeping our hope of a recovery alive. Uh, the, the Chamber of Commerce, in keeping with our vision of being a catalyst for a sustainable economic growth that improves the quality of life for Guam, put together a ad hoc committee that we call a think tank. This think tank met over the summer, and the main objective of the think tank was to put together a set of ideas that would allow our business community and our government officials to look at opportunities in other areas. While we see a gradual return of tourism, the focus of the Guam Chamber initiatives was to look at industries outside of tourism to grow our economy based with the support of our public sector. With the recent support of the government of Guam and GITA, the Chamber is pleased to formally present the initiatives to the membership. This will be presented to the membership on December 4 as part of the annual Economic Outlook seminar that the Chamber will host with the Chamber's Small Business Committee. We will be joining the industry experts such as Gary Halls, Siska Hatapea, James Martinez, and GBB to provide an overview of the various initiatives that we hope will be able to get the island into a better recovery mode. Registration is now being accepted for the December 4 webinar, and we look forward to sharing these ideas with you. Thank you very much, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you, Frank. We certainly appreciate you taking charge with Joe to get this committee off the ground. And certainly, even after the presentation to our governor of Guam, there's a lot of people excited about seeing this come to fruition. So thanks to you, Joe, and all the committee members for your hard work. At this time, I'd like to call upon someone who really doesn't need introduction. She has been the driving force of our chamber for many years. I've had the pleasure of working with her over this past year, and I knew that she worked hard, and I now know that what I thought she worked hard at, she works even harder. So I'd like to call upon our president, Ms. Catherine Castro, to provide her address to the membership.
Half a day and good morning, members and guests. Welcome to our annual membership meeting. I'd like to begin by wishing you and your loved ones good health. Can I just tell you how have times changed? I never in 1,000 years would have thought that our world would be so drastically different than it was when I presented my report to you this same time last year. New words and phrases have become a part of our daily lives, like new normal, or I'll send you a Zoom link, and you're on mute. I know you're smiling right now and nodding your heads. At our annual meeting last November, we were at the Hilton Guam Resort and Spa, and many members were casting their ballots in person. The outcome would determine which of the candidates would fill the 8 seats on the chamber board, unlike what we were just doing this past week. And even more, we're gathering to have lunch and catch up before our annual meeting started. Well, today, our chairwoman has called the meeting to order, a meeting that we are all attending virtually rather than in person, because of the impacts of what COVID-19 has had not only for our island, but all around the world. We absolutely missed our one-on-one meetings with you and are so looking forward to the day when we can meet you face-to-face at a general membership meeting luncheon again soon. But thank you for joining us today in front of your computer, your tablet, or on your phone. We appreciate that you have carved out time to listen to our updates and reports. You may recall that in my address to you last year, I reported that we had lost 39 small business members. All reported that they had taken a big hit with the increase in the business privilege taxes implemented in 2018, coupled with the rise in government fees to do business, the increased cost of goods due to the tax law, and the 2019 increase of real property tax for real estate and improvements of $1 million or more. Plus, the anticipation of this year's minimum wage increase, well, many of our local businesses were struggling. They were having to restructure, lay people off, and cut benefits so that they can keep their businesses afloat. Well, here we are 1 year later. Not only did we have these issues to contend with, we now are in the throes of the worst global crisis in our lifetime. And unfortunately, our little slice of paradise has not been spared. With over 35,000 people without jobs or underemployed and many island businesses closed, with several more contemplating uncertain futures, we face the daunting task of building back our economy, a better, more diverse economic base, a better tourism industry base, and a better way to enhance doing business on Guam. And your chamber is up for the task. When we first got wind of the coronavirus outbreak in China, we watched it very carefully. When it started to spread to various Asian nations, we warned our government officials that we needed to dust off our pandemic plans and work together to keep our businesses open as long as we can. When we saw visitor arrivals start to decrease in February, we continued to press our government officials to work with us on solutions so we can keep our people employed and our businesses opened. When the island shut down for the first time in March, we complied and encouraged our government officials to stay engaged with the business community. We supported our government with their various requests, while at the same time, still seeking their support for our businesses and our employees. We developed recommendations for reopening Guam, and we worked with our civic organization and government partners to get businesses the support they needed. Your chamber continued to work for our members and our entire business community throughout the crisis. We have heard your thoughts, listened to your struggles, stayed on the phone with you, exchanged emails with you. We heard your dissatisfaction. We also heard your gratitude. We laughed with you and we cried with you. You joined us in our calls to action with your presence and your testimonies. We've taken your ideas and suggestions, and we ran with them. And these recommendations helped more in the process. And through it all, we were there. And the Guam Chamber will continue to be there. And we are committed to you and your success. And we encourage you to stay engaged with us in our efforts to dialogue with our elected officials, both locally and federally. As we continue to seek ways to bring solutions to the table and enact positive changes that will encourage economic growth and better opportunities for our businesses and all our people. It has been a whirlwind of a year, and I can't think of a better group of people to lead us through this than our chamber board, our volunteers, and our chamber staff. Your resiliency and tenacity have kept us all on track and forward thinking. And your chairwoman, oh goodness, Christine Baleto, she has done a fantastic and outstanding job representing you, representing our membership, and keeping your companies and your employees top of mind all the time. Thank you all for your tremendous support of our businesses. In reference to our chamber finances, our October financial statement shows that we have had a total cash balance of $251,161 at the end of the month. Our accounts receivables were at $54,886. Our total assets are at $953,600. And our total income to date was at $468,414. We are down about 30% from last year. However, your chamber's financial condition is still sound thanks to you. We are so thankful that you have continued to make good on your dues investment. Even when the struggle to stay afloat persists in this economic environment, we are humbled by your loyalty and support of your Guam Chamber of Commerce. And we would not be here if it wasn't for members like you who believe in the mission of our chamber. And on this note, we thank you for your time and attention. And now turn the camera back to the chairwoman, Christine Baleto, for her farewell address. Sidulos Mosi. Switch. I'm gonna start.
Buenas and Hafa members and guests. Thank you for taking the time to attend the Guam Chamber of Commerce virtual membership and annual election meeting. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the 2020 Board of Directors for the opportunity to serve as your chairwoman. I have been honored to work with such a fine group of individuals. The diversity of our group, coupled with the combined knowledge, experience, and professionalism, has truly made it easier to tackle the challenges we face this year. I also appreciate the humor that permeates through our group. Humor can sometimes be the best medicine for the challenges we face. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt, this has been one challenging year for the Chamber of Commerce and our community as a whole. I would like to acknowledge our Chamber President, Catherine, and her staff, Rebecca and Jackie. I cannot speak highly enough of the work these ladies do to keep the Chamber running. They are the backbone of the Chamber of Commerce and do the real work that supports all our members. I would also like to thank all of you, our membership, for providing me the opportunity to be part of the board for our chamber and to serve you as our chairwoman. This year has been one of the most difficult years for our business community, our employees, and the entire private sector in general. COVID-19 has devastated our economy, our tourism sector, our people's livelihoods, and has hurt a fundamental part of our island culture, which is to be with each other. Your chamber has risen to the challenges this past year. We have been a staunch advocate with the administration and legislature even before the pandemic began, and most especially from the onset of the lockdown. We advocated for measures to include the rollback of BPT to 4%, the delay in the implementation of the minimum wage increase, the moratorium on the increase of taxes on properties whose value was $1 million or more,
on the expansion of relief for small businesses through the amendment of the Dave Santos Act, which raised the threshold of qualifying small businesses for tax relief and provided a 2% GRT reduction of taxes for businesses making $100,000 or less, and for amendments to the Alcoholic Beverage Control Law. We have opposed countless measures that would serve to hurt our business community and our employees during this economic disaster. We are all just trying to survive. Bills that would have increased other taxes, fees, imposed new restrictions or requirements that would be detrimental to our private sector have been vehemently opposed. Even now, as the legislature has been in session this week, we remain active in opposing a bill that would eliminate the use of plastic and paper bags beginning January 1st, 2020, would restrict the sale of alcoholic beverages between the hours of 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. to include holidays, and would call for a pause in the military buildup, despite this being the only viable economic driver we have left at the current time. I would like to recognize Bobby Shringy, the chair of our legislative committee, who has not only kept us abreast of the happenings at the legislature, but has assisted us in crafting testimony as well as lobbying with senators. In addition to advocacy, throughout the pandemic, we have worked hard to be a resource for our members and the business community at large. When the island went into PCOR 1, the Chamber kept its members informed on local and federal government updates and financial assistance. Activities included developing a matrix to simplify the comparison process of federal aid packages so that members could easily identify which funding would be applicable as well as beneficial. We established a membership roll call email blast, which was used as a tool for businesses to update the entire community on special offerings, business hours, and the status of business openings. The Guam Chamber, through guidance from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, put together and issued a suggested plan for reopening businesses and the economy. The Chamber assisted many of our businesses with the development of their specific industry safety guidelines and protocols, as well as the submission of these to DPHSS. The Chamber proposed initiatives to GITA and the Governor for relief funding through grants, coupon programs, and other measures to specifically target assistance for local businesses. I would like to acknowledge David John, President of ASC Trust, who has been instrumental in so many ways at supporting Chamber activities and creating a bridge between your Chamber and the administration. The Chamber provided information and webinars to assist businesses to learn more about financial relief programs available to them, as well as provided guidance on applying for them. We held a community rally to show our solidarity and support for our private sector. Thank you to Sandra McKeever, who chaired the committee, as well as all her committee members. Considering the circumstances with lockdown, we had over 130 vehicles participating in the motorcade. As chairwoman of the board, I participated in the governor's recovery advisory team, business advisory team, and have recently been attending the physicians advisory group meetings to advocate for the reopening of businesses based on a balanced approach of protecting our community from the spread of the virus with protecting our economy and people's livelihoods. The Chamber also convened a think tank committee chaired by Frank Campillo and Joe Cruz to look at initiatives to diversify our economy. A white paper and presentation has been developed and presented to GITA as well as the governor. The governor has expressed her support for GITA as well as other government agencies to work with the Guam Chamber in developing these initiatives. A combined task force has been established, which has board members Siska Hutapea and Joe Cruz leading efforts to bring these initiatives to fruition over the next year. In addition to the pandemic, this year also was an election year. The private sector has struggled for years with getting legislative support for business-friendly legislation and fighting bills which would harm our business community. This year, we decided to take action and formed the Action PAC Political Action Committee. This was an initiative that was started last year with our immediate past chair, Joe Arnett, as a means to rally private sector organizations, businesses, and employees to elect candidates who support us. We were able to legally establish the organization and garner the commitment of the Guam Chinese Chamber, GHRA, the Guam Realtors Association, the Guam Contractors Association, the Korean Chamber, and the Women's Chamber. Although COVID delayed our start and implementation of our campaign for business-friendly candidates, 7 of the 12 candidates we endorsed were elected to the legislature. A key initiative for the board and its leadership in the upcoming year is to push for the follow-through of promises to roll back BPT and support the military buildup, as well as other economic initiatives that will help rebuild our island. In the course of these past 11 months, there has been a plethora of meetings, trainings, webinars, workforce development activities, emails, legislative testimonies, letters to the governor, outreach, town hall events, and interviews with the media. There were many times I joke with Catherine that I just want to remind everyone I do have a full-time job, not to mention my own business. I have been fortunate to have had the support of our CEO at Docomo Pacific, Rod Boss, as well as our Docomo team. Thank you, Rod and Docomo. I could not have managed the demands of this role without the flexibility afforded to me to balance all the responsibilities. Although the overall focus this year has been on the pandemic, legislation, and the election, I would like to thank our standing committees for their work despite the difficulties experienced. The committees did their best to continue with activities to support the membership. I would like to acknowledge our main standing committees and their officers. The Armed Forces Committee with the chair, Joe Arnett, and Vice Chair, Phil Santos. Prior to the pandemic, they supported the Guam Army National Guard Award ceremony, hosted a reception for the USS Theodore Roosevelt on their first port call to Guam in February, made the annual trek to Washington, D.C., and met with White House, congressional, and Pentagon officials to lobby for issues that are vital for Guam's commerce. The Armed Forces Committee continues to advocate for Guam during these trips and have done so with funding out of their own pockets. Throughout the course of the pandemic, they have continued to dialogue with local military officials on ways to have local businesses provide goods and services to military personnel and their dependents confined to base. They are currently working on a safe haven initiative to have the Department of Defense designate Guam as a safe and welcoming destination. They continue to work collaboratively with Joint Region Marianas and the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command to support future visits, especially as the island remains closed to tourism. The Guam Business Women's Network, spearheaded by Christine Lujan, committee chairwoman, was also off to a strong start in the beginning of this year. They held their annual job fair, which was a huge success. They also had numerous brown bag events scheduled prior to the pandemic. Although they were not able to execute planned activities, the group has supported the Chamber's effort during the lockdown. The Guam Young Professionals, or GYP, which is led by Anthony Mariano, their chairman, and Ajay Pothan, their vice chair, who is also a candidate for a board seat this year. They likewise began the year strong with their annual event in which they recognized John Reyes Jr. of the Bank of Guam as the 2020 recipient of the Reina A. Letty Guam Young Professional of the Year. They also have supported our chamber efforts in response to the pandemic and election. I would like to also acknowledge them and their other officers, Rob and Sandra, for working with us to strengthen the relationship GYP has with our chamber board. I have been personally impressed with the professionalism of this group and have enjoyed working with them. Last but not least, our Small Business Committee, led by Dave Hicks, also had events planned for this year. Their annual Small Business Expo has been an annual highlight, but unfortunately was placed on the back burner this year. The Chamber is currently exploring ways to make this work. Although these committees are a mainstay of your Guam Chamber, during this particular year, we had many ad hoc committees that surfaced to meet the specific needs we had, whether it was the community rally, Na La Bonita beautification program, federal or White House liaison activities. Your 2020 board members all stepped up to the challenges of this year. I would like to recognize all of them who in one way or another made our chamber a strong force during this year. The Executive Committee, Mark Taquito, Ed Unterland, Joe Arnett, Chris Duenas, and Bobby Shringy. Board members, Milton Morinaga, Mindy Uggan, Kim Anderson Young, Jessica Barrett, Ernie Galito, Tom Shimizu, Siska Hutapea, Mika Caldwell, Maureen Maritita, Mark Sablon, Marie Guerrero, Sandra McKeever, Juan Carlos Benitez, and Candy Okuhama. Later on during this meeting, we will have the announcement on the 8 candidates who will serve on your Guam Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. I am confident that considering the great candidates vying for these seats and the 12 board members who are holdovers, that your 2021 board will continue to be a driving force at fulfilling the Chamber's mission in the upcoming year. I would like to recognize Ernie Galito, our nominating committee chair, and his committee members for putting together a great group of individuals from which to choose from. I would also like to extend congratulations to those that garner the highest votes to serve on the board, as well as thank our board members who have exhausted their term, particularly Joe Arnett, who has contributed so much during his tenure on the board, and Mindy Uggan, who has been a valued active member. Aside from our board members and committee's leadership, I would like to also recognize all the people who contribute to the Chamber's committees. Volunteer members who would be too numerous to name, but please know that your contribution is appreciated. The Chamber is and will always be strong due to the entire spectrum of people, each of you, a collection of many great minds, talents, creativity, intuition, energy, and desire to help promote and protect business activity on Guam. This year, the Guam Chamber of Commerce celebrated its 96th year of existence. There was not the customary gala, recognition of milestone members, nor induction into our Hall of Fame. Instead, we spent this year fighting for the survival of our businesses and the employment of our people. Every single board member and the staff at the Chamber has fought hard in one way or another to fulfill our mission of developing, enabling, promoting, and protecting the interests of all Guam businesses. We have done this on the support and strength of you, our membership, and we must collectively continue to fight for an environment where businesses can thrive. Now more than ever, it is imperative that we all work together to rebuild our economy, create jobs, advocate for good laws, and partner for good governance to fulfill our vision to be a catalyst for sustainable economic growth that improves the quality of life in Guam. I am confident that your continued support of the Chamber will make achieving this possible. Thank you again for allowing me to be part of this historic and great organization. It has been an honor and privilege to contribute this past year as your chairwoman. Sitos Maasi.
Thank you again. At this time, I would like to, sorry, we need to turn on. Sorry, guys, we're still kind of navigating all the technical requirements of doing virtual meetings. But at this time, I would like to call upon Ernie Galito, who is our nominating committee chair, to announce the results of the election for our board of directors. Ernie?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As everyone knows, there were 11 candidates who were vying for 8 positions on the board of directors for 2020. And we want to thank each of the candidates for stepping up to the plate, for raising their hand, and volunteering to pitch in to join this august body of great minds and great spirits in order to help drive forward all the initiatives presented to us by the Guam Chamber of Commerce. And I also want to take this time to say that we had a new platform this year because of COVID, and Guam Chamber staff were able to find an electronic platform which enabled virtual voting so that we didn't have to overcome a lot of the challenges with COVID-19 and how safety protocols were taken in place So the virtual voting was concluded at 8:30 this morning. Part of the platform enables an audit process, so to make sure that there weren't any duplicate votes from members just by mistake or happenstance. And so all the votes were verified as valid. And so just to give you a report on the numbers, there were 319 eligible voters, of which 215 member companies casted a vote, which represents a 67% voter turnout. Compared to 2019, there were 160 members who voted in that year's election, which represents a 34% increase. So we had a 67% voter turnout this year, and year on year, we've increased our voter membership by 34%. So a lot of that attribution we'd like to give to the nomination committee. These members include Joe Arnett, Mika Caldwell, Trina Cruz, Maureen Maritita, and Candy Okahama, and me. I was their leader, so if there's any complaints, you can direct them to me. If there's any credit and praise, please direct it to the committee members. And so here we go. Let me just put my... So based on the total number of votes that were cast and verified as valid, first of all, we'd like to congratulate due-time board member William Calori. He will serve a one-year term as a non-voting alternate. Next, we'd like to also congratulate incumbent member Sandra McKeever. She will also serve a one-year term as a non-voting alternate. Joining her will be incumbent Jessica Barrett, who will serve a 3-year term. And joining Jessica will be incumbent Mark J. Sablon. And then we also like to congratulate first-time board member Philip Santos, who will serve a 3-year term. And joining Philip will be Mark Taquito, an incumbent member on the board, and he will serve a 3-year term. And then we also like to congratulate Siska Hutapea. She will serve a 3-year term on the board. And rounding out the final 8th seat, please congratulate Kim Anderson-Young. And she will serve a 3-year term, and she had garnered the highest number of votes, and she will join the executive committee. So, Madam Chairman, that is my report for this year. Congratulations to all the candidates. Congratulations to everybody who voted. We appreciate you taking the time to vote virtually. The platform was successful, and we'd like to thank the Guam Chamber staff for putting that together. Over to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ernie. Thank you to our nominating committee members. And of course, thank you to all the candidates who ran this year. Congratulations to our elected members of the board. You could not hear us, but we were clapping very loudly on this side, and wish you a ton of success as part of our board this upcoming year. This concludes our membership meeting agenda. If there is no further business of the membership, I would like to adjourn the meeting. Thank you again for joining us and allowing me the opportunity to serve as your chairwoman this past year. Most importantly, thank you for your continued support of the Chamber of Commerce. Si Dios Ma'asi, and have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.